There is a silence that falls over the world late at night, a quietness that can feel heavy, pressing against the windows of your room and the walls of your mind. And in that silence, it is easy to feel entirely and desperately alone. You might look at the glowing screen in your hand, scrolling through the lives of others, seeing faces smiling, groups gathering, and connections being made, and feel a widening chasm between where you are and where you think you should be. This feeling of isolation is not new, it is not a failure of your character, and it is certainly not a sign that you have been left behind by the world. For even the most powerful men in history, those who commanded armies and ruled empires, have known this silence intimately. Imagine for a moment that you can step back through the corridors of time, nearly 2,000 years into the past, to the edge of the Roman Empire, where the wind howls across the dark waters of the Danube River and the ground is hard with frost. There, inside a drafty tent made of heavy canvas and leather, sits a man who is arguably the most powerful human being on earth, yet he is utterly alone. This is Marcus Aurelius, the Emperor of Rome, the philosopher king, and he is tired. His body is aching from years of campaigns. His eyes are weary from reading dispatches of war and plague, and the weight of the known world rests entirely on his shoulders. He is surrounded by guards, generals, and courtiers, yet he has no one to truly speak to, no one who can understand the burden he carries, and no equal to share his innermost thoughts with. In this moment, he does not call out for company, he does not seek distraction, and he does not drown his loneliness in noise or excess. Instead, he lights a single lamp, pulls a scroll of parchment toward him, and begins to write, not for an audience, not for history, but for himself. He writes to find a friend within his own soul, to organize the chaos of his mind, and to transform his isolation into a fortress of strength. If you are feeling lonely right now, if you feel unseen, unappreciated, or disconnected from the people around you, listen closely to the wisdom of this man, because Marcus Aurelius discovered a secret that the modern world has largely forgotten. He discovered that loneliness is not a void to be filled, but a room to be entered, a sanctuary where the self meets the self, and where the raw material of your character is forged into something unbreakable. We live in an age that is terrified of being alone, an age where we are constantly bombarded by notifications, messages, and the noise of a billion opinions, yet we have never been more fragmented, more anxious, and more emotionally fragile. We have traded the deep, strengthening silence of solitude for the shallow distraction of constant connectivity, and in doing so, we have lost the ability to sit with ourselves. Marcus teaches us that the pain of loneliness is actually a growing pain, a signal that you are being called back to yourself, called to build an inner citadel that no external circumstance can shake. When you are alone, truly alone, the masks you wear for society drop away, the performance ends, and you are left with the only person who will be with you from your first breath to your last. This is not a tragedy. It is an opportunity, perhaps the greatest opportunity of your life, to define who you are when no one is watching. Consider the times in your life when you have felt most rejected, perhaps when a relationship ended and you were left with a silence that screamed, or when you were excluded from a group you desperately wanted to belong to, or when you poured your heart into a project only to have it ignored. In those moments, the instinct is to run, to find something to numb the sting, to seek validation from anyone who will give it. But the Stoic path, the path of Marcus, asks you to stand your ground. He writes in his journal, which we now know as Meditations, that nowhere can a man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. This is a radical thought, that the peace you are looking for, the companionship you crave, is not out there in the crowded marketplace or the digital feed, but right here, inside the very loneliness you are trying to escape. By staying with the feeling, by enduring the initial discomfort of the silence, you begin to realize that you are not empty. You are full of thoughts, full of reason, full of a potential that can only be tapped when the noise stops. Marcus had to deal with sycophants who only wanted his favor, politicians who plotted against him, and even a brother who did not share his burdens. And amidst all these people, he realized that true connection is rare, and that the only reliable companion is a well-disciplined mind. He utilized his loneliness as a filter, a way to strip away the unessential and focus on what truly mattered: his integrity, his duty, and his capacity for reason. When you are alone, you are free from the expectations of others, free from the need to perform, and free from the subtle ways we change ourselves to fit in. Think of how much energy you spend worrying about what others think, about how you are perceived, about whether you said the right thing or wore the right clothes. In solitude, that burden lifts. You can breathe. You can look at the world not through the eyes of fear or desire for approval, but through the eyes of truth. Marcus often reflected on the transient nature of fame and applause, noting how quickly the names of great men are forgotten, how the cheering crowds eventually fall silent, and how the only thing that endures is the quality of one's own character. He asks us, does an emerald lose its beauty if no one praises it? Does gold become less valuable if it sits in the dark? No, and neither do you. Your worth is not determined by how many people are in your phone, how many plans you have on a Friday night, or how many likes your picture receives. Your worth is intrinsic, woven into your nature as a rational, feeling human being, and it is in solitude that you can polish this emerald, free from the distortion of other people's opinions. This is why being alone makes you stronger. It forces you to become your own source of validation. When you no longer need the world to tell you that you are good or worthy or successful, you become invincible. You become like the rocky promontory that Marcus describes, standing firm while the waves of the world crash against it, eventually soothing the fury of the water around it. It is easy to be kind when everyone is kind to you. It is easy to be confident when everyone is praising you. But true strength is built in the cold hours of the night when you have only your own resolve to keep you warm. Many of us fear loneliness because it forces us to face our demons, our regrets, and our fears. But Marcus teaches us that these demons are just thoughts, vapors of the mind that have no power over us unless we give it to them. By writing them down, by dissecting them with the cold scalpel of reason, he took the power away from his anxieties. He looked at his fear of death, his fear of betrayal, his fear of failure, and he dismantled them in the quiet of his tent. You can do the same. When you are alone, do not let your mind spiral into self-pity or catastrophizing. Instead, talk to yourself as a wise friend would. Ask yourself, why does this trouble me? Is this within my control? If I am alone right now, is it not an opportunity to read, to learn, to create, to grow? The lonely hours are the training ground for the soul. It is where the athlete trains before the stadium fills. It is where the artist practices before the gallery opens. And it is where the human being learns to be human. If you can be at peace with yourself in an empty room, you will be at peace anywhere, in any crisis, in any crowd. We must also address the pain of betrayal and the feeling of being misunderstood, for these are sharp arrows that often drive us into isolation. Marcus Aurelius was no stranger to this. He was betrayed by his greatest general, Avidius Cassius, a man he trusted, a man who tried to steal his throne while Marcus was sick and vulnerable.
It would have been easy for Marcus to become bitter, to shut down his heart, to lash out in rage and surround himself with walls of suspicion. But he did not. He chose to view the betrayal through the lens of philosophy. He reasoned that people act out of ignorance, out of their own pain and confusion, and that their actions are a reflection of them, not of him. He famously said that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. When you feel lonely because you have been hurt, because someone you trusted walked away, or because you feel that the world is cold and indifferent, remember that your character is the one thing that cannot be taken from you. Do not let the coldness of others freeze your own heart. Use your solitude to heal, not to harden. Use the time to reconnect with the vastness of nature, with the rhythm of the seasons, with the history of humanity. Marcus often looked up at the stars and contemplated the infinity of the universe to put his own troubles into perspective. When you look at the night sky, you realize that you are part of a much larger whole, that you are never truly alone because you are woven into the fabric of the cosmos. This is not just a poetic sentiment, it is a Stoic reality. You are a citizen of the universe.
There is a profound freedom in loneliness that we often overlook because we are too busy fighting it. It is the freedom of autonomy. When you are alone, you are the captain of your ship. You decide what to think, what to feel, and where to steer your attention. In a world that fights constantly to capture your attention, to sell you products, ideologies, and insecurities, reclaiming your attention is a revolutionary act. Marcus Aurelius fought for this autonomy every day. He constantly reminded himself to return to his own ruling center, to not let his mind be pulled like a puppet by the strings of desire or fear. He cultivated a garden in his mind where he could retreat when the world became too much. You are building that garden now. Every time you choose to sit with your loneliness rather than numb it, you are planting a seed of strength. Every time you choose to read a book that challenges you instead of scrolling mindlessly, you are watering that seed. Every time you accept your feelings without judgment, you are letting the sun shine on that garden. Soon you will find that you are not afraid of the silence anymore. You will start to crave it. You will see it as a luxury, a time to recharge, a time to sharpen the sword of your intellect and soothe the spirit. Let us speak also of the modern digital loneliness, the specific ache of seeing a world connected by wires but disconnected by spirit. We see numbers on a screen, followers, friends, views, and we mistake them for connection. Marcus would likely look at our devices with a mixture of curiosity and pity. He would warn us that looking for happiness in the digital echo chamber is like trying to quench your thirst with salt water. It only makes you thirstier. He would remind us that the opinion of a stranger on the internet holds no weight compared to the judgment of your own conscience. If you are feeling invisible online, or if you feel that your life lacks the luster of the curated images you see, step back, disconnect, return to the real world, to the tactile sensation of a book in your hand, the feeling of cold air on your face, the sound of your own breath. Reality is where strength is found. The virtual world is a shadow play, a distraction from the work of living. Marcus Aurelius lived in a time of real plagues and real wars, and he knew that the only way to survive was to deal with reality as it is, not as he wished it to be. The reality is that you are enough, just as you are, without an audience. You do not need to be seen to be real. You do not need to be validated to be valuable. The oak tree grows strong in the forest, even if no one is there to admire it. The river flows, even if no one hears it. You are part of nature, and your growth is a natural process that does not require the applause of the crowd. As you continue this journey through the landscape of solitude, you will begin to notice a shift. The loneliness that once felt like a prison begins to feel like a fortress. You start to realize that by not needing others to complete you, you become a better person for others when you do choose to engage. A person who is comfortable in their own solitude is a person who loves out of choice, not out of need. This is a crucial distinction. If you need people to stave off your loneliness, you will cling to them, you will suffocate them, you will be terrified of losing them. But if you are happy in your own company, you can interact with others from a place of abundance. You can give without expecting in return. You can love freely. Marcus Aurelius was a good emperor, a dutiful father, and a loyal friend, not because he needed his subjects to validate him, but because he had filled his own cup. He served Rome because it was his duty, not because he needed the applause. When you master loneliness, you master your relationships. You stop tolerating disrespect just to have a body in the room. You stop chasing people who run from you. You stand still, grounded in your own worth, and you let those who resonate with you come, and you let those who do not go. This is the ultimate freedom.
So, how do we practice this? How do we turn a lonely Friday night into a Stoic exercise? It begins with acceptance. Do not fight the feeling. Say to yourself, I am alone right now, and that is okay. Then move to action, but not distracted action. Engage in what Marcus called serious things. Read something that has stood the test of time. Write your own thoughts down. Start your own journal. Converse with the great minds of the past. When you read Marcus Aurelius or Seneca or Epictetus, you are not alone. You are in the company of the wisest men who ever lived. They are speaking to you across the centuries, telling you that they felt what you feel, they feared what you fear, and they overcame it. Build a relationship with yourself that is based on respect. Would you let a friend sit in a dark room and berate themselves for hours? No, you would tell them to get up, to open the curtains, to do something productive. Be that friend to yourself. Treat yourself with the same compassion and strictness that Marcus treated himself. He was strict with his own mind, not allowing it to wallow in self-pity, but he was compassionate with his own humanity, understanding that he was imperfect. There will be days when the silence is deafening, when the longing for a touch, a voice, a presence is almost physical. In those moments, endurance is your virtue. Marcus reminds us that everything is temporary. The pain you feel now is a passing cloud. The sun behind it, your reasoning mind, your core self, remains. He often used the metaphor of the fire. When a fire is weak, a damp log will extinguish it. But when a fire is roaring, it consumes everything thrown into it and burns even brighter. Your solitude is the fuel. Throw your obstacles, your sadness, your rejection into the fire of your mind and let it fuel your transformation. Let the pain burn away the impurities, the neediness, the superficiality. Let it leave behind only what is real. You are being forged. You are being strengthened. Do not wish for an easier life. Wish for the strength to endure a difficult one. Wish for the capacity to find joy within yourself, a joy that does not depend on the weather, the economy, or the relationship status. This is the inner fortress that the Stoics speak of. Once you have the keys to this fortress, no one can lock you out and no one can hold you prisoner. As we draw near to the end of this reflection, remember that Marcus Aurelius died nearly 2,000 years ago, far from home, likely still feeling the weight of his responsibilities. But he died with a peaceful mind. He died knowing that he had lived according to nature, that he had done his best, and that he had kept faith with himself. He did not die desperate for more time, nor terrified of the dark. He accepted his fate with the dignity of a man who had spent a lifetime practicing how to be alone with his own soul. You have that same capacity. The loneliness you feel today is not a life sentence, it is a summons. It is life asking you, who are you when everything else is stripped away? Answer that question with courage. Answer it with the knowledge that you are building a version of yourself that can withstand the storms of life. You are learning to be your own best friend, your own anchor, your own light in the dark. Take a deep breath now. Feel the air filling your lungs. Feel the presence of your own body, the beating of your own heart. You are alive. You are here. You are capable of infinite growth. Do not be afraid of the silence. Embrace it. Walk into it with your head held high, like a king or queen entering their throne room. For that is what solitude is. It is the throne room of the self. And you, my friend, are the ruler of that domain. If this message has resonated with you, if you have felt the quiet strength of the Stoic path calling to you in the midst of your solitude, know that you are not walking this path alone. We are a community of seekers, of thinkers, of people trying to find peace in a chaotic world. You are part of something larger. I invite you to make a commitment to yourself today. Subscribe to this channel, not just to watch another video, but to mark a turning point in your journey. Like this video to help this message find others who are sitting in the dark, needing to hear that they are strong. Share this with someone who might be feeling the weight of loneliness, and be the hand that reaches out to them. And most importantly, carry this wisdom with you into the silence of your night. You are stronger than you know. You are never truly alone when you have yourself. Stand firm, be at peace, and continue to grow.